Hey YouTube fan, how you be? I am looking at a tarot spread right now that is really, this has been such a pivotal time in all of our lives, right? Whether we realize it or not in the moment. And this is someone who is like coming out of the dark, coming out of a very painful, difficult time. And needing a few reminders, a few friendly reminders. Look, there's a plane overhead. Where are we going to go next, fam? Right? So let's get into it, shall we? Okay, so right off the bat, I pulled the thread from the archetype deck, right? And the cave in reverse and the womb, which for me, yeah, it's kind of going to the right, which speaks to me of the future. So there's also the flame upside down on the bottom. So it's kind of like a little bit of an identity crisis, for lack of better words. And something that has been coming to me since drawing these cards and looking at things is like when caterpillars go into a cocoon and come out a butterfly, right? I feel that as humans, we hit different points in our lives, especially at the end of a painful cycle, where it's really good once we're in the clear a little bit and out of it a little bit and it's officially in the past, to kind of cocoon ourselves a wee bit and just checkity check, like, why am I reacting these ways? Why do I like the things I like? Do I still like them, or have I outgrown them? Why, you know, just check in on yourself without judgment, without guilt tripping yourself, but just touch base, right? Because you're being reminded to also speak up, okay? So we're dealing with your inner flame, your actual identity, that thread, you know, like if we're born, think about humanity and life and how, you know, there are those of us who believe that we're all connected. It's all connected, right? And that almost like a lifeline, like think of like firefighters and stuff going into a building, people going into places where you can't really see and using that like rope, that thread to hold everyone together, to keep track of what's forward and what's backwards, right? But with your life, with your identity and your path, and being able to recognize that even when you make mistakes, even when things, however they work out, it's not quite what you wanted, you're still on the right path. As long as you keep moving forward, as long as you're being true to yourself and you keep trying, it's always the right path, right? There's always experiences to learn from. And for me, this cave card right now is feeling like coming out of the dark, right? It's not necessarily having difficulty being alone, because I feel like you've had some time alone and now you're trying to come out of that. You're trying to like peek out and do a little bit of a hello, you know, and just kind of see what the vibe is out there and stuff, right? But there's so much that you're still working through, right? We also have the womb card, and that speaks to me of that caterpillar in the I'm just repeating myself now, sorry, but like clearly I was drawn to that cocoon vibe again for healing. There's been a lot of, I keep saying it because it's just the vibe of the time, you know what I mean? Dealing with the root causes rather than playing with band-aids anymore. We also, with the Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle deck, we have that protest, start a revolution. That's remembering that you have every right to stick up for yourself and defend yourself, right? Speak up. And when there are those who can't speak for themselves and you still got that vibe going, speak up for them. Help them, right? That is coming up twice, because the bottom of that deck is the Thorns card. Weave together the crown you deserve. This is remembering that you are not alone. You are not alone. You may not realize what others have going on in their lives that enable them to identify with you, right? You may not realize, you may feel alone and not realize that there are those in your midst MIDST kind of wording, right? That can identify with you, that really do resonate with your experience, whether people are copping to it and getting into details or not, right? Because there's been such a thing these days on like in social media and stuff, and talking, you know, people complaining about someone, taking a conversation and making it about them. But then you have the neurodivergent fam who are like, what do you mean? We're just trying to make sure you understand it's not word service. You know what I mean? That we're not just blowing sunshine up your butt. We really do understand in our own way what you're going through. And back to you. You know what I mean? Like, it can be difficult for people these days to speak up, even though we live in such a time where speak up. Utilize these tools when it comes to things like social media and stuff, right? But there's so much fear about others, about villains playing the system, right? And that sometimes they do win and people do believe them. But you're being reminded that whatever it was that someone did to you, in which this one, I always look at this like these notes and the haunting melody of it all, right? But lately I've really been feeling that silencing factor. So I'm not surprised that that card is coming up with the protest card. Someone has been silenced and has really been trying to go within to figure out what the heck, right? Because if I'm here, it must be for a reason, right? Well, darn tootin', right? Then we get into the tarot for some clarification, you know? The very first card that I pulled was the Fool. I don't necessarily like that name, thank you very much, because this person, like, do you really think they're going to go off that cliff? They can't just be taken in the scenery and that, just like, holy crap, life is just wild. It's wild, man. It's so wild. And there's so much to do. There's so much still to do. It's like coming out of the dark and realizing there's still wonderful experience to be had, right? Underneath that, we have the Three of Wands, which is coming back to that fiery passion, that courage and resiliency to create and keep going. This is the growth and expansion card. So I feel like that's what's helping me with that, like, you know, some people may think you're foolish with the way you're going through it and they don't understand what you're doing, and that's fine because it's not their life. We talk about stuff like this a lot on this channel with these readings. I feel like it's just been coming up in most readings these days. I haven't been watching many lately, but like, it's a vibe check, you know what I mean? Recognizing finally that you're capable of way more than people are telling you. I feel like all too often, if we're not growing up or living in these supportive environments, all too often there are things that are being told to us, opinions and stuff that like really help us to understand what our purpose is, what we should be focusing on, what we ourselves are capable and how we can help others or whatever the heck. Do our part, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's a lot more simple than we're led to believe, right? And oh God, where's that? It's so ethereal. Where's it going? Where's it going? Where's that tendril taken off to? And I feel like when that happens, you know, the silencing effect, when that happens and people in your life have caused you to second guess yourself, that, if we want to alchemize it, turn it into, oh, you want me to be quiet? You want me to think I don't know any better and to defer to you? Nah, that means I need to expand. I need to get louder. I need to speak up. You know what I mean? Whatever it was, whether it was your art, dancing, your love for the cello, whatever it was that you were bullied about as a kid. And another plane. Because it's about building that strength and that confidence and that resiliency. It doesn't come so easy for some of us, right? For some of us, I don't know what was going on in the previous life or what's been going on or whatever, but it's kind of like, I don't believe in this kind of shit, but for lack of better words, like toughening you up. when it's more so just wisdom gained is more what I'm meaning, like that experience of it all, regardless of whether it went well or not, the experience of it all, of just getting out there, right? And recognizing that if it's something you want to do, you're the one who's going to be doing it. And whatever happens with it, you're the one that has to deal with that. So whatever anybody else is telling you, whatever anybody else's opinion is about your journey and the things that you want to do, right off your back like a duck in some water. You know what I mean? The next card that came up after the Fool card, though, is the Knight of Cups. And I like to think of this one as though we had to do some things to heal our hearts and reach a certain point in our healing journey. And once we reach that river, then we can see this Knight of Cups on the other side. And the horse is like there. Like, I like to imagine this white horse like prancing around all excited because they know how good it's getting. They know what mission they've been sent out for, right? And it's all good vibes. The cups are emotions and water and the fluidity of life and feeling, not getting lost in a sauce, savoring the moment. So if it's a person, there's either a message or something coming in for you. This isn't one of the fastest nights, so it's not a matter of today or tomorrow. It might be more like next week or next month or something like that. But there's some kind of message involving love and creativity, whether it could be self-love, because I like to say that with tarot, first and foremost, when it comes to love, first and foremost, it's self-love, because it begins with us, right? And something's telling, but like, if this is a person coming into your life, they may trigger you a bit. This is the card that came under the Knight of Cups. They may trigger you a little bit and remind you of past heartache. That version of the haunting melody. Someone who broke your heart. Maybe they're among those who made you feel like you weren't quite good enough for them. What gets me about stuff, you know, like, think about it. Who is it, if someone cheated on you or decided that they wanted someone else instead, how did things really go? Because there are those times when they end up together forever and it was just fate and how it unfortunately went through, and that was an experience for the different perspectives. But is that really how it usually goes? Really? Because, like, nobody's stealing, am I right? If they're able to, you know, then it's not, I mean, you know, you can get mad at the person who, you know, came on in, or you can get mad at the person who went on out, you know what I mean? But the thing about this, if this is representing someone and the triggering and all of that stuff, don't just jump into things, you know what I mean? You've learned so much, so savor it. Get to know this person. It may feel and be really freaking spiffy, but if this person isn't meant to have the longevity that you're longing for, maybe this is just, you know, that palate cleanser, you know what I'm saying? Maybe just either way, savor the moment, even if no one else is involved, even if it really is just a message coming in that can help you with your heart and your feelings and creativity and all of that. Savor the moment. That's what cards like the Knight of Cups and the Prince of Cups are about. Remembering to enjoy your life. Have some fun, right? And this knight really just wants to enjoy the moment with you. It's about time you reached this point in your dang journey, you know? It's like, yay, you're finally here. After that came the Three of Cups, which speaks of celebration. They're surrounded by all of that life with the plants and everything. This is a great harvest. This is a wonderful time. This is community and whatnot. So think of the things that you have to celebrate. Maybe not so much like the Four of Wands, where it's particulars that people may mention, like a marriage or whatever the heck. But like, think of the different things in life that people will get together and celebrate with. This is just being surrounded by people and having that soul family vibe, whether they're biological or not. You know what I mean? Having things to celebrate. But this may be someone who has spent a lot of time alone in that cave for a while, right? And may feel like they don't have anyone to turn to. I mentioned that before, like realizing that there are still beings around. And I word it like that because temperance came up underneath that card. This could be you learning how to defy gravity and alchemizing and all of that good. But this also, with the imagery that tends to be with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it also speaks of the divine universe surrounding you. Angels, spirit, whichever, however that resonates with you, right? God, angels, your ancestors, right? There to help you, ready for you when you ask for it. You know what I mean? There's praying and expecting to just hand something over, but then there's that ability to open yourself up to receive. If you've been asking for help, are you open to receive it? Are you open to realizing that you do have, I want to put these together because I feel like I know I've been putting the rows together, what's above, what's below, or whatever together, but this one really feels like, I feel like an epiphany I want to let you know about that I've had in the past year or so is a lot of what I've been wanting from other humans, that unconditional love and support and things like that, to the standards that I've wanted isn't as common as far as a human being capable, right? If your standards are so high and you have that hole that you've been trying to fill, that elusive thing you've been trying to get from your camaraderie with others and relationship with others, and it's never filled, it's never even tapped into, and times where you may think it has, but then you end up disappointed because they're just simply not capable in that moment, at least, for whatever their reasons are. What if that's what you've been looking for, basically from the divine, from angels, from ancestors, right? What if what's being sought outside of ourselves really is within ourselves? And then once we connect with that and recognize that it's always been available to us, and that's what they mean by stop seeking outside of yourself, right? Because when we talk about as above, so below, as within, so without, people all too often forget their part in the equation, right? Christians talk about the Holy Spirit within. And if you're into Neville Goddard and the power of awareness, law of attraction and stuff, then it's, you know what I mean? And very similar to Buddhism, right? It's all within. And recognizing that connection, whatever it may mean for you, right? And that can enable us to recognize, okay, there are just certain things I want and I expect that the people I've known throughout my life haven't been capable of. And accept that and let it go, and recognize that now that we understand that about ourselves and what we want and our standards, high, low, whatever the heck they may be, that can enable us to have a better idea of what we have to work with at the very least, right, fam? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we put so much pressure onto ourselves and onto others because that's what we're raised to do. That's what our society and marketing and all of that stuff teaches us. That's what Hollywood and television teaches us, whether people realize it or not. And it really messes with some of our heads, right? We have the Five of Pentacles coming up toward the end of the story, which speaks of a mindset of lack, right? What are you lacking? And why do you keep thinking of it? Because that mindset is getting in someone's way, right? It's getting in the way. And I know that because there's the Four of Wands, right? Look at all that gold in that background, right? Lately has also been a time of recognizing when we ourselves have put too much emphasis and meaning into material crap, into money and our bills and our homes and our cars and stuff, right? Where's the balance? Where's the ability to recognize, I like these creature comforts, but I can exist without them. I have, and I will again. You know what I mean? Where's that ability to be able to be comfortable in whatever room you walk into? Wherever you are, you belong. Rather than being so worried about money and the things that you have. Think of what you want. Think of those connections and those communities and stuff, right? You have things to celebrate. This is the 1111 card coming up underneath the Five of Pentacles. So either okay, one of my favorite things about the Five of Pentacles, though, is these people are in movement. That we may have that black background which speaks of depression and dark nights of the soul, but we also have what appears to be white snow falling down on them. And even with crutches, even with wounded feet, they're still moving forward. They haven't given up. They're not sitting under this window. It looks like a stained glass window anyway. I like to think that there's a door over here that they're moving toward. Because goals, right? What are you moving toward? Rather than thinking of what you're missing out on, what you don't have, think of what you want and how happy, like whatever it is, right? How good would you feel to have your bills set to auto pay because you always have enough money? You don't have to worry about it, right? How good would you feel if you had that car that you want, if you had that job that you've always wanted to do, if you did move to that city, to that country, if you did do what it takes to make that effort? How would you feel? That's my favorite Neville Goddard quote if you're new here. How would you feel if you were free? Stop worrying about the specifics and remember that you already have what should be mattering most to you. And it's worth celebrating, right? This is a new chapter, a new beginning. You have new messages coming in, new growth and expansion and everything. It's kind of like that fumbling, the awkwardness of the new, right? That can make a person shy or question themselves. Don't fall back on old habits, on that negativity. It's back there, right? We're shedding that painful cycle. Here comes the sun. Do, 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 do. There's that golden sunrise coming in to get rid of that dark night of the soul, right? Because life goes on. And how do I know that you've had a dark night of the soul? Because even the star has appeared on the bottom of the deck, and that's when she appears, right? That when times are the darkest, it's time to shine like a beacon, okay? It's time to shine. The Six of Cups was underneath her, by the way. It's time to shine. It's time to release the past and all of that confusion and awkwardness and just hold on to yourself. Hold on to that inner compass, which continues to evolve and grow, okay? Reignite that flame within you. And remember, if something happened, fuck them. You know what I mean? How dare they? But it's humanity really wants everything to be so linear. And life just simply is not. Experiences and all that just simply are not, right? So reclaim yourself. Reclaim your voice. Reclaim this new chapter of your life. Because there's a lot I don't like the whole idea of tests and stuff. I feel like if you're going to live, you're going to handle things as one who has learned their lessons. I like to think of this little doggy dog down here as our wisdom, you know, and that's how I know you're not going to go off that cliff, right? This is your time to shine, and you know it. You know it, and you're ready. We have the 3 and the 4 of wands present. We have 2 3s, 4 and a 5. 2 5s. We have 2 3s and 2 5s, fam. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? Hey. There's been a lot of conflict and such, but you're ready to move on. So just trust that process. You have really incredible things waiting for you at like those different pit stops. That, like, if this were a marathon or something, someone would be handing you water and just like, hey, I got you. You know what I mean? With that, right? Yeah. So just you take care of yourself, because you wouldn't be trying if you weren't looking forward to the future. Right? So this is your friendly reminder that you've got this, that the dark times are over, right? We have this person defying gravity, and we have this person also with their foot in the water and on the earth, with the ocean and the rivers. There's just, you're capable of so much. And we're moving beyond this, okay? We're moving beyond these difficult things. Otherwise, the cave wouldn't be in reverse as far as I'm concerned. Coming up right after that thread card, okay? Let's get to the extra notes and call it good, fam. Let's see. I only have eyes for you. Aww. We have some loyalty coming in. I feel like I just pulled this card in one of the astrological readings that I did. Someone has someone coming into their lives that is really, I don't know if it's like romantic or friendship. It's soul family type vibes. Someone who's going to show you that your idea of loyalty is real. And there's a reason you want it. That there are others who are capable of the same, who really do match your vibe, okay? And then, oh, but I can. Period. Right? I don't know if that's showing up or not. My goodness. My goodness. At the bottom, we have Kiss the Rain, which is about how that element of water is so cleansing. And I love how it's also present in these 2 cards as well. We have actually, well, this ocean is a bit golden, but I feel like water, maybe not the Fool and the 5 of Pentacles, but there's water, not the 4 of, there's some, like, it's half the cards have water in them. And the ocean and rivers represented. So there's definitely a lot of emotions going on. But you just believe in yourself. You're meant to. You do have a support system. Whatever your belief system may be, you do have a support system. Okay? You do have those who are there for you. So if you're praying, if you're doing affirmations and doing all that stuff, first and foremost, believe that you deserve it. And keep going. You're getting there, fam. You got a new beginning and the ending of the cycle. And I feel like what's confusing so many of us these days, or making it a bit awkward, is they're like overlapping. You know what I mean? And just seems like a zipper going together. And that can be a bit weird, because it's like, wait, are we doing this? Are we there yet? What the heck is going on? And that's okay. It's sea legs. It's sea legs. Don't worry about it, fam. You got it. You've got this. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me. And always remember that I believe in you. Yeah.